What's going on, Show Nation? It's Movie with Movie Gaming TV, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you guys how to read the attributes of cards to determine which cards are better than other cards, and basically how I look at a card's attributes and decide if this is the hitter I want to use, if this is the pitcher I want to use. I know a lot of you guys are deciding between should I use this card or should I use that card. Hopefully this guide can help you guys out on determining that. I will still always review all of the new content and all of the new cards and give you guys my opinion on them, but this should give you kind of an idea of how to do that for yourself. Okay, so let's take a look at Omar Vizquel here. Just use him as an example. Contact, power, and vision are all extremely important. Contact and vision actually work together in conjunction, and a little bit of power in determining how big of a PCI a player has, how big that yellow circle is for a particular player. So vision this year has been extremely important because you want as big of a PCI as possible, especially as you move up to the Hall of Fame and Legend difficulty. PCI size is very important. So you get a boost from vision on that, and you also get a boost from contact. Power does factor in a little bit, so all those factors are extremely important. Discipline, clutch, bunt, drag bunt, and durability all are not important at all for the case of Diamond Dynasty. Clutch might give you a slight PCI boost when runners are on, but it's not something that will ever be a determining factor in whether or not you decide to go after a card. Same with discipline, bunting the same thing, and also durability is just something that doesn't matter at all. Fielding is very important. Fielding and reaction, they work in conjunction with each other actually. So depending on your fielding and your reaction, it'll make your fielding what I really should say is fielding does help your reaction. The more fielding you have, the more reaction you have. So those do work in conjunction with each other. Arm strength is another really important factor. Arm accuracy is not particularly important. That's not something I look at all, really determining whether or not it's going to be a factor, because you can use the throw, if you have like throw accuracy on, or the throw meter I should say, and you can hit green throws. It's not something that's truly important. It's not something you should worry about. Speed is more important in stealing or base running aggressiveness. Those two things seem to help you a little bit in getting a better jump, but it is kind of random. I feel like it does do something, but at the same time, the most important factor in the running part of things is speed. The other things you got to consider when looking at a card are the secondary positions that the card has, which are really important. I really don't like to play cards completely out of position. I don't like to use them in the secondary position too much unless it's not going to affect their fielding that much. And the order of the secondary positions really matters. So he's going to be better at second base than he is at third base. He'll take probably like a 5 hit to his fielding when he moves to second base. So he'll go from a 98 to a 93. So he'd still be a diamond, but obviously now he has a little bit less of reaction time. Your arm strength position to position, it does not change. So you can put, whatever position they're going to, their arm strength doesn't get knocked. But the lower you go in the fielding tier, the less animations you have to unlock for your player, like the less that they can be triggered. So it's much better to put them in their primary positions. I would not play this Omar Vizquel in left field, for example. One place you'll really notice the animations screwing up if you put somebody out of position is on, let's say you have an infielder that you put out of position. It'll really mess up a lot on double plays. That's where I've really noticed it. Just experimenting with different things within the game. Double plays, it really won't let you trigger a lot of those. That's when they'll drop the ball and stuff like that at first base when you have players out of position. Another factor is switch hitting. Switch hitting is super important. Like if you have the ability to switch hit, that's a really huge factor in determining whether or not you're a better card. That's very important. That gets you a huge boost to your value, having that. And the other contributing factor is swing. Swing is also very important, and that's something that you're going to have to kind of experiment with yourself and see if you like that swing or not on a particular player. For me, swing is very, very important, though, and it's only something that, it differs from player to player. Some people like certain swings. Like, I think a good example is Pudge Rodriguez. A lot of people really don't like to use him, and then there are people that really do like to use him. So it's something you have to try out for yourself and see how you like it. And then also, watch a lot of streams and kind of get a vibe for the community is another way to really evaluate cards, too. Certain people will say cards are glitchy, which just means it's just kind of a gaming term for like they're really, really good. It's not necessarily that they're like a quote unquote glitch. It's just that I think you guys know where I'm going with that. So that's why I really like this Omar Vizquel card, though. If you look at this card in particular, I'm looking for, he has high contact, he has decent enough power, he has really high vision, he has great fielding, and he's fast. And he's a switch hitter. So that contributes a lot into him being the shortstop on my team and the one that I use. So I really, really like Omar Vizquel. Let's look at a card like Pete Alonso here. 74, 87, 125, 125. You guys can see he only has 66 vision. 125 power is a ridiculous, ridiculous amount of power. That's why he makes it on my team. And since he only has 66 vision, he doesn't have a ton of vision. But you guys can see I bring him up against left-handed pitching. So he has the 87 contact versus left, which gives him a little bit of boost to that vision. And he also has 125 power, which gives him a little bit of boost to that vision. And the power is so incredibly valuable because the power obviously allows you to hit home runs. And he can be a game changer off the bench, whether it's getting us back into a game with a home run or separating us from our opponent with the home run. And Pete also has a really, really good swing. It's just a nice little leg kick. It's easy to time with. So that's a huge contributing factor in these cards. So let's kind of rank which ones are the most important. This year, to be honest with you, with how much I play on Legend, vision's really, really important to me. That's one of the first factors I look at, vision. Then I also look at power and contact. All those are what's going to jump off the page for me at first. Then it's also, what is their swing? That's extremely important to me. Are they a switch hitter? That's important to me. Then I'm going to go and take a look at their fielding. Is it good enough to play at whatever position? I'm usually looking for 86 fielding and above. I find that especially with this George Brett card, you guys can say he has 86 fielding. He seems to get really, really good animations with that 86 fielding. I don't know what it is, but he's been one of the best defensive third basemen that I've used. I don't know if it was using Hornsby so much that I noticed such a dramatic difference, but 86 seems to be that number for me that I'd be looking for, at least in the primary position of where they're fielding. And if you moved him to second base, he will take a 5 attribute hit, so he will have 81 fielding. I think that takes him down a notch. I think 86 is kind of that number to look for to get the good animations in the field. And then obviously I really, really like speed. Speed's obviously really important as we round out the 5 tools for a player. The speed can help the fielding and the reaction as well, because now they're just a little bit faster moving to those spots. Speed is super, super important in the outfield. It's a huge factor in the outfield, because if you have slow outfielders, it just allows your opponent to hit the ball over your head. It allows your opponent to hit the ball in the gap. It's just really important to have speed in the outfield so you can cover, so you can, if they bloop the ball, you have a chance to run in quickly and catch the ball. Speed is a huge, huge factor in defense. You guys can see how amazing this Willie. Now that you guys know kind of all the contributing factors in a card, you can see how amazing this Willie Mays is. 114, 117, 106, 118, 116 vision, 98 fielding, 95 reaction, 92 speed. I moved him to left field, so his fielding is only 93, but he's still such a beast out there in left field. Just a great card. His swing, I guess, could be a little bit better, but I'm so used to it after so many at-bats that it's kind of... see, that can happen too. A swing can be bad, but then after a time, you can get used to it. I think that happened to a lot of people with Rogers Hornsby. It went from being a very tough swing to use to a swing that was really, really pretty popular and really pretty good to use over time. Hornsby's really good too. 125, 125, 94, 99, 125. The thing is, when you play him at second base, it's just you need. Let's talk about premium defensive positions too. Catcher, I'd say catcher is important. Shortstop, extremely important. Second base, extremely important to have good fielding. Nobody gets the animations like Alomar. He's so good defensively. Whether it's sprinting up to grab the ball with one hand, with his bare hand, and throw it to first, or taking away hits up the middle, he's so good. I mean, you guys can see he was number 2 in the top 10 power ranking cards so far. Has great hitting stats, switch hitting with huge vision, great fielding, great speed. There's so much to like about this card. And then center field obviously is really important in defense. And I would argue both of these, the left fielder and your right fielder, are both really important to have on defense. First base, it doesn't matter as much. It's not a position where defense is extremely important. They're going to catch a lot of the balls at first, especially from throws from the infielders. But they just need to really knock the ball down. I wish Frank was a better defender. The base fielding in this game is 60, so he is below average at 57. It'd be nice if he was like a 67. That'd be amazing. But it is what it is. At least he's a big target. At third base, I think defense is pretty important at third base. But if there was going to be, you could probably put a silver defender here. If they can hit gold, that's what makes George Brett so good. Is not only is he an amazing hitter with 125 vision with a great swing, but he also can hold it down defensively pretty well, and he's pretty fast. So I really like this George Brett card. But once we get Chipper Jones, if Chipper Jones gets any kind of fielding anywhere close to 86, he's going to be one of the best cards in the game regardless. But if he gets something like George Brett and an 86 fielding, because in the past, I swear George Brett used to have like silverish type of fielding. It wasn't nearly this high that I remember. If Chipper Jones gets some fielding like this, he's going to be a switch hitter with amazing hitting stats, and he'll be good defensively. We'll have to see what kind of speed they give him, but I'm definitely looking forward to that card. Switch hitters are really, really valuable, especially as you go up the ranks on Legend. You don't have to hit left on left, which can be very difficult. I don't really mind hitting right on right that much, but left on left can be pretty tricky at times. So it's nice to get the switch hitting just to be able to get that clear vantage point when you look at a pitch from the pitcher. So let's go ahead and look at what I look for in pitching cards. So when we look at Clayton Kershaw here, 114 stamina. Stamina to me is not very important. The way I always look at stamina is they probably can throw about 114 pitches before they're in the red. That's the way I look at it, but it's not an important factor when determining a pitcher. H per 9 and K per 9 are extremely important. They work in conjunction to make your opponent's PCI smaller mathematically. So if I had to choose between which one is more important, I would take H per 9 because I think it has more of a factor. And K per 9 I think has less of a factor on that. I was able to reach out to SDS before making this video because I was wondering if BB per 9 actually had an effect on control. And it turns out that it does. So I thought that it did, but I wanted to reach out to them before I made this video to confirm that. BB per 9 and control are extremely important because the name of the game in pitching is being able to hit your spots. If you can hit your spots and live on the outside part of the plate or the inside part of the plate or above or below, and you can stay out of the middle, you're going to be really successful. And so BB per 9 and control play a huge factor in you being able to do that. Now, HR per 9 used to not matter in online head-to-head. It was more of a simulation stat. Now, this year, it does matter. But let me explain how it works. I think a lot of people think that once the ball's in play, it's affected by HR per 9, but that's not how HR per 9 works. What HR per 9 does is it lowers the hitter's power to an extent. So it affects the hitter's power attribute. It lowers it. So the higher the HR per 9 that they have, the lower the player has of power. And I'm not sure exactly how much that is scaled. Okay, I just know that if they have, let's just say that again, using 86 as a number, if they have like 86 or above HR per 9, especially in Kershaw's case like 94, he's probably lowering their attribute, I don't know, a couple points or so. So that's something to keep in mind. It's a very, very important factor this year because it just limits your opponent's ability to have power. It's an important factor this year. 111 clutch. You guys can see clutch is not super important. It does reduce their PCI a little bit when runners are on base, and he has a lot of it to do that, but I don't think it's to the point where it's drastically going to increase or decrease, I should say, the PCI size by that much, where it's really, really going to matter too much. It shouldn't be a factor in you deciding whether or not to get a card or not. Obviously, we talked about control a second ago, extremely important. Velocity and break. Velocity is obviously going to be important, and so is break. Those are two other factors that are going to be important. Some pitches, see the velocity stat and the break stat, I don't think they correlate with all the pitches. So, for instance, the changeup doesn't necessarily reflect into the 90 velocity and the 99 break. I think different individual pitches have different velocity and different break, and how that attribute is applied to it. I'd suggest there's a website called daddyleagues.com that you can look up cards in the market and cards on there, as well as the shownation.com, but it will tell you on each individual pitch how fast it goes and how much break it has. So that's something that you should take a look at if you're interested. But velocity and break are important as a whole. It's something that you want to look at for sure. Fielding on a pitcher is completely insignificant. I really could care less if they have amazing fielding or bad fielding. It's just not something that's important at all. It's not something where you're going to take someone out or put someone into your rotation based on their fielding. And the other thing that fielding on a pitcher can really do is it can inflate a card's overall. If a pitcher has more or less fielding, it can affect the overall of the card, but in reality, it's very inconsequential on deciding who you should use as a pitcher. It's just not an important factor, so keep that in mind. Now, the other two things that you got to look at when you're looking at a pitcher are the pitch selection and also the pitcher's pitching motion. So for pitches, this is a really, really good set to have. 4-seam slider, 12 curve, changeup, and a sinker. Those are kind of your classic pitches that you can have to set up different pitching combos. I'd like to have like a 4-seam slider. I like having a sinker more than a 4-seam, but I like sinkers, sliders, 12-6 changeup. I like cutters. Some pitches like a forkball and a splitter are a lot like a changeup as well. I like the 12-6 more than the regular curveball as well. I don't think everybody does, but that's kind of what I like personally. So it's really what this means is certain pitchers won't have a changeup. Certain pitchers won't have a curveball. Certain pitchers won't have a slider. If you can, when a card has all of those four sets, the 4-seam, the slider, the 12-6, and the changeup, they become a lot more valuable. Those are just like the 4 core that you'd want to have in a pitcher. Some pitchers, they might only have a 4-seam, a 2-seam, and a slider, and it just doesn't give them a lot of variation. They don't have a lot of off speed. You kind of have to throw the slider below the zone to formulate any kind of off speed. The other thing is motion. Motion's very, very important. You got to have a repeatable motion that's easy to execute on the controller. That's going to be different from most people. A lot of you guys, if you're familiar with the videos, I talk about 4-second, 5-second, and there's even like 7-second motions. And what that means is the time between when you pull down on the analog stick and you push up. If it's a shorter motion, if it's a 4-second like Kershaw has, it makes it easier to pitch with because you don't have to pull down for as long, and the distance between you moving the stick back up from the yellow line to the hoop in analog pitching is a smaller distance, which gives you less room for error, and more often than not, you're going to hit the spot. And that's why, again, control is so important. One other thing I need to explain to you guys is these pitches, they're always in an order. 4-seam slider, 12-6 changeup, and sinker. This basically means that his 4-seam is his primary pitch and it's his best pitch. The slider is his second best pitch. The 12-6 is his third. The changeup is his fourth, and the sinker is his fifth. So those pitches generally will have the most velocity. They'll generally have the most break to them, and they're the most important ones to use. They are in a specific order of which one is the best and which one is the worst. You can also throw your primary pitch over and over again without having an attribute or RNG hit. They made it so that, like, basically you can't go into a game and just throw all changeups or all 12-6s all game and not have any kind of attribute hit or accuracy hit. You have to get back to throwing at least a fastball or a slider. My rule of thumb is I usually don't try to throw a non-primary pitch 3 pitches in a row. At least what I really should clarify on that is, like, I don't try to throw the changeup 3 times in a row. If I throw it 3 times in a row, I feel like on that third time I'm really taking an RNG hit. So I will mix it up with at least a slider or a 12-6, but you want to use that you need to mix that primary pitch in like once every 3 or 4 pitches just to keep everything going well. Just so you don't get too much RNG. That's kind of my own philosophy on it. I'd be interested to see what you guys think down in the comments below about that. There hasn't been a lot of talk about that being in the game since pretty much like the launch of the game, but it is a factor. You can't spam the lower pitches in the pitch repertoire without having an RNG hit, and I hope that kind of makes sense, but I'm sure some of you guys know what I'm talking about with that. So what are the most important attributes that I look for in a pitcher? First of all, H per 9, then K per 9. Then I would say like BB per 9 in control, HR per 9, velocity and break. I don't look at clutch. I don't look at fielding. I don't look at arm strength. I don't look at anything fielding. I don't look at. The hitting stats can have a factor, especially if it's somebody like Mad Bum who, he has 39, 31, 63 power, and 65 power. I've actually hit, I believe it is 7 home runs with Mad Bum. So this does give his card a little bit of a boost, just because he can hit a little bit. If you ever want to see a pitcher's hitting stats, just hit square and you'll be able to see that. Him being able to hit just a little bit is a factor that does help his card out quite a bit compared to like Justin Verlander, who has like 0 in all the hitting categories. This really can help you out. It can keep an inning going. And I'm not always looking for a home run, but just the fact that he can put the ball in play does help slightly. I would still, over everything, I recommend that you guys look at pitching stats first. That's going to be more important, but there's a slight thing that you want to keep in mind if you're trying to decide if they have a little bit better of hitting. That can help your team and help you win. Relief pitchers, it's really not that much different. It's kind of pretty much the same stuff. I guess what I would say about this is don't worry about the stamina. It's not really that important. Again, that's really what I look at, how many pitches they can be until they're pretty tired. 29 for Hoffman, he's going to be pretty tired. Eckersley actually has 37, which isn't too bad, but I don't think there's too much of a difference here. But I would much rather have control pitchers than I would have a pitcher that it is not easy to control and throws it all over the place. The only reason no one sticks around is the H per 9 and K per 9 are just absolutely ridiculous. He's got a good HR per 9 as well. You just have to try to hit the zone the best you can with him. That's why he's still sticking around, but I don't know. Later on in the game, he might not stick around. We will see. I really like Wainwright, and I really like Oral Hershiser just because they're so accurate and easy to use, and they have great motions, and they have great pitch sets. Look, the sinker, cutter, curveball, changeup. Like, I can really pitch tunnel with all of those pitches, and the fact that he's so accurate is super important. Same kind of setup here. Sinker, curveball, cutter. There's a 4-seam and the changeup. They're changed there, but it's just nice to have that combo because a lot of those pitches come out of the same type of windows. I have 2 off-speed pitches. I have a sinker and a cutter that are one's gonna go inside, one's gonna go outside out of the same tunneling. So that's really how I look at that Adam Wainwright. So, I hope that gives you somewhat of an idea. I'll probably think of something after I finish, putting out this video that I'm like, oh my god, I should have thought about that. So I hope that isn't the case. But that's what the comment section is for. So guys, go to the comment section, drop me a comment on any question that you guys have. I check my comment section a lot, and I have no problem replying to it. And I'd like to see your guys' comments. So go ahead and drop a comment down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video if you guys like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you guys are new. You guys can always follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/MovieGamingTV. I'm always streaming all the time. I'm always streaming about 4, 5, 6 hours a night. I'm playing the game. When I play the game, I'm streaming. So make sure you guys roll through there. Follow me on Twitter at MovieGamingTV. I'm always talking baseball over there. I'm always talking, if you want to see when I'm going to go live with the stream or a video just hit as well, make sure that you guys are over on Twitter. It's also a good way to get a hold of me. If you need to get a hold of me, just type me at my @ and I will most likely see it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys have a great day. If you guys want to go check out the 5th inning video, you guys can go check out that. I have my 5th inning predictions, and that's a new video. And also I have the some other videos on the channel, all kinds of hitting tips, pitching tips, all that stuff. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.